The three big questions that we're looking for answers today. Will Haryana see a bearing of the political shake-up just before elections? Second, what are the challenges BJP face from repeating the perfect 10? A final question, will the AAP-Congress alliance be put to test looking at the assembly elections that follow later this year? Well, looking for answers to these three questions, joining us two eminent guests this evening. Senior journalist Ashok Tandon joining us, Chakshu Roy from PRS Legislative to take the deliberations forward and helping us understand this particular election in Haryana for us. Let me come first to you, Mr. Tandon. You know, a perfect 10 is what BJP scored in 2019. How much of a challenge is it this time around, especially when it comes to repeating those magic numbers and that voting percentage that I was looking at, close to 58% in Haryana?
See, let me be very frank. The BJP in the past has never been a formidable force in Haryana. And it used to be only an urban area.
True.
And with the alliance partner for Om Prakash Chautala's INLD, they used to win a couple of 7 to 10 seats in the assembly.
True.
But in 2014, it was Modi factor which broke all these shackles in Haryana, and BJP could win 7 seats. It was something which was unheard of. And in 2019, the same Modi factor scored 10 out of 10. And this has never happened in the history of Haryana politics.
True.
So therefore, with a not very strong organizational base in Haryana, the BJP could make a remarkable gain in Haryana, again then formed the state government also. So therefore, I think in the last 10 years, the BJP has worked very hard to get a foothold in all segments of the society in Haryana.
Okay.
But what has happened recently is that the alliance partner, they left BJP and then are now contesting all the 10 seats. Now, this factor is based, there are, conspiracy theories that it is, a deliberate move, a strategic move to part ways and let the JJP contest all the 10 seats, because that is a predominantly a Jat party. Now, if the Jat vote could be split in Haryana by the former alliance partner of the BJP, it may help BJP again to gain all the 10 seats. So therefore, if you look at the constituencies, the Congress has left only 1 seat for Aam Aadmi Party while bargaining in Delhi. Now, in that seat, there is Naveen Jindal, who has been winning Congress for a couple of times and now is a BJP candidate. So I think BJP has very strategically picked up candidates, some former congressmen and like that. And therefore, I would again say that this time around, again, it will be primarily Modi factor, which will, help BJP rather than the strong base. That the, combination of candidates, the choice of candidates, the caste combination with which BJP has fielded its candidate in all the 10 seats, I think that is something very important from the point of view of BJP winning or retaining its seat. Again, I will say, it is all Modi who has brought Haryana, BJP on the Haryana map. Otherwise, the party was not very strong earlier.
Okay. Mr. Chakshu, do you look at, the Congress this time around? There's too much of factionalism that you see within the Congress camp. Let's take a look at, you've got a Bhupender Singh Hooda, then you call the SRK group that's called, Kumari Shailaja, Mr. Surjewala, Kiran Chaudhary that come into play. Are there too many factions within the Congress that could also, prove to be a speed breaker for the Congress as it looks for a revival?
I think in every election within political parties, there will be competing factions and there will be competing interests. But what makes Haryana very interesting is 2 things. One, there are 10 parliamentary seats and there is an assembly seat on a by-election.
True.
So the current Chief Minister said that the lotus will bloom in all the 11 seats. And that one by-election is also like a bellwether for what's going to happen in elections later, because the former chief minister vacated that seat to make way for a parliamentary, for a colleague who had demitted that seat so that he could fight that election. So that's one interesting thing. The other interesting part is, let's not forget that in the last general elections, Delhi had 7 out of 7 for the ruling party, and then 10 out of 10 in Haryana. And while the two of them have distinct electorates, as you mentioned in your opening remarks, there is a lot of continuity of borders. So does what happens in Delhi or does what happen in Haryana, have some kind of an impact on the voting outcomes? They're going on to vote on the same day. The Prime Minister has been campaigning there. There's also been rallies in Delhi. So those are the other interesting thing that I see. Finally, if you look at the candidates, so one of the seats that you were mentioning was Ambala, where a sitting legislator, MLA, is contesting. There are some seats where it is a family contest entirely. All the three candidates are from the same family. So this is one of the unique phases wherein 10 seats, but such tight competition on many of those seats.
Okay. Mr. Tandon, looking at the regional players in these elections, the INLD, the JJP, could they play a spoil sport, for the two political parties? It could affect the BJP. There is factionalism in the Congress. You've got Birendra Chaudhary who's come back, Birendra Singh who's come back into the party. But, factions inside the Congress, but the regional players, hold the aces when it comes to spoiling the apple cart for the BJP and the Congress.
See, the split in the Chautala family, like Abhay Chautala himself is contesting from one seat, but then they are fighting within themselves. So, and let's not forget that the Indian National Lokdal and its splinter group JJP, they are all primarily Jat-dominated parties. And in the Congress also, it is the Huda family which, calls the shot. They are also predominantly Jat-supported leaders. So if the Jat votes get split in 7 out of 10 constituencies, it will definitely benefit the BJP. Now, there are certain totally urban dominated seats like Karnal, from where Manolal Khattar is contesting, and Kurukshetra, which I was saying from Naveen Jindal is contesting. There Abhay Chautala is contesting.
Abhay Chautala is fighting.
Yeah. So therefore, split of Jat votes in at least 6 to 7 seats out of 10 is definitely going to support and help the BJP. Okay. Because as I said earlier, the BJP has never been a force prior to 2014. Now, since in 2014, they won 7 seats. In 2019, won 10 out of 10 seats.
True.
Lot of credit goes to the Modi magic.
Okay.
And now PM himself is campaigning very extensively in Haryana, because as my friend was saying, any rally or roadshow of PM in Delhi also helps the BJP in Haryana. It's vice versa. Any rally or neighborhood of Delhi helps the BJP in the rural belt of Delhi. And similarly, the rallies in Delhi help the rural areas of the Haryana also. So therefore, I think there's not much Congress could do because of the infighting as we have been talking. But the split of Jat vote is going to be a very, very crucial factor, and that will determine the outcome of Haryana election.
Okay. Mr. Roy, looking at Haryana, seeing a bearing, do you see the bearing of it firstly come into play? The political shake-up just before elections with a change in guard. Secondly, the BJP government just before elections, 3 MLAs leaving, left things in a bit of a quandary. But, we couldn't see anything play out because of the Lok Sabha elections and the test that he had won. But having said that, do you somewhere get the sense that, it's an open election for all the political players, looking at the regional factions that are fighting, going solo in this election?
Anil, I think all elections are open elections till the time the votes are counted.
No, I asked you for the reason why, because the regional parties are not taken any sides.
Yes. Mr. Tandon was making a very interesting point, which is that whenever there is a two-party contest and a third player enters in, it usually benefits the incumbent, and that's what data seems to suggest for a number of years. To the other point of the shake-up that you were talking about prior to the general election being announced, now that is something that now we have seen in a couple of different places. We have seen that in Uttarakhand, we've seen that in Gujarat, and in those cases the shake-up seemed to benefit and the ruling party was able to retain those states. Now, in this particular case, yes, the incumbent might get some benefits out of the fact that it's going to be a three-cornered contest, and since we are a first past the post system, you don't really need to get 50% of the votes to get there. All you need is one more vote. And what it raises is that will there be some very close calls, because these are packed constituencies, and you were mentioning in your remarks earlier that I think the voting percentage was about 58%. So will there be some packed contest, or will the heat keep the voters at bay?
Okay, Mr. Tandon, I'm not going to bring that heat into play. We'll leave that for the phase days. But looking at a change in the chief minister, do you somewhere feel that the anti-incumbency wave that could come into play, that's been checked or checkmated by the BJP with this move?
So if at all there was any anti-incumbency against the government, that has been neutralized to some extent when they changed the leader.
True.
Now with the new leader, I think some of the anti-incumbency must have gone. Let's not forget, in the last 2019 election, BJP in the Lok Sabha poll got 58% votes and Congress got only 28% votes. So even if there is some slip from 58, and even if BJP can get near 50%, they can still win all the seats. And as we have been discussing, there are forces like regional parties, splinter of the regional parties, and somewhere the PSP contesting. If the anti-BJP vote can be split, and BJP vote, even if it is reduced to 51%, they still has a chance to win all the 10 seats.
Okay, final word, Mr. Chakshu Roy. Is there a fight within the regional forces, the JJP, the INLD, especially when it comes to being the flag bearer to carry forward, Chaudhry Devilal's dream, when it comes to the party and the force that's been created, especially in Haryana?
I think Anil, there's a larger fight. The larger fight is who's going to be the political representative or the public representative for the electorate, the Jat electorate, in Haryana, and possibly with some effects in certain parts of UP and Rajasthan as well. So I would view it as a much larger conversation about regional parties trying to get their toehold into electoral contest. We have seen in southern parts of the country that they are already a formidable force. And is this going to be the beginning, or perhaps some kind of a starting for regional players in Haryana?
Okay, we're going to leave it there.